this is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and the crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Back like we never left, another Saturday morning with the W Show Kansas City, talking sports and pop culture. If this is your first time checking us out, we greatly appreciate you making us a part of your Saturday morning, spending some time with us because we know it's cold outside. Like you said earlier, it's it jumped up on us.
Yeah, it just dry. The bottom fell out of the temperature that we had. It was like, what?
Yeah, it was 75 yesterday and no coat, just, light jacket.
Yeah, it's been 2 days with no coat.
Yeah.
I've started getting a little look, don't get comfortable.
How is everyone's week?
Great, man. It's a Big 12 week, women's week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been some good games too.
Yeah, women's basketball. We'll dive into the Big 12. Mike, how was your week?
It's cool, and watching the industry, catching up on my little binge watching. And
The industry, what's that on?
HBO Max. And I've been going over, I knew some talking points was going to come up about certain things that's been going on in the NFL. So I kind of, went back in the archives.
What's the industry about?
Some highly intelligent financial analysts trying to make their way into banking right out of college and all the things that they have going on. And they have this uber smart girl, but, she's not quite honest and somewhat narcissistic and psychopathic. So it's pretty good.
That can pose for a problem.
Nah, she's ruthless. I like it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's based out of London, UK. That
Really?
area.
Are they doing like? Well, I guess it's London. They speak English, but I was gonna say like because I watch those shows that you just read.
I watch subtitles anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, C Lenzz, how was your week? Now you been Mr. Photographer all week.
Oh yeah, I'll probably taking about 6,000 pictures this week, and I'm exhausted. But I've really been looking for Mike all week. Where you been?
Watching the industry.
I just told you, watching the industry.
Hey, we all at the Big 12 tournament.
And I listen. I have prior engagement things that I need to do that
like watching the industry
that needs my attention. I called him yesterday. Like, hey, where do I go get the credentials and everything?
That was 2 days ago. That wasn't yesterday.
That was yesterday.
That was Thursday.
That was Thursday?
Yeah.
It was Thursday. Listen, you know me. I don't know. Listen, I know what day it is.
Sorry, man. Your memory's going. It's okay.
No, it's not going.
Yeah.
I recognize what day it is because they're all the same. When I go into the bar next to my house, on who's the bartender. So when they switched up the bartender, I was like, wait a minute. Is today Friday? They was like, nah, it's Sunday. I was like, wait a minute, because it's a new bartender. But I'm here. I'm freshed up.
Right.
Got some other things to take care of, but I'll be there. If you're looking for me, don't be looking for me, man.
All right. We got a lot to talk about. On today's show. Some Chiefs fans are looking for Trent McDuffie, but he gone. We'll talk about that. The Chiefs have traded Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams. We'll dive into that here in about 5 minutes. We're also talking about the T-Mobile Center, Women's Big 12. Some great basketball is kind of being overshadowed by a basketball court. We'll dive into that. Plus, we'll talk about KU. Talking about they're losing millions on tuition, and they're going to be still paying athletes.
Well, you better get your budget together.
We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Plus, WNBPA executive committee says the CBA proposal is not worth taking. We'll have a lot of conversation about that. Plus, in about 30 minutes, we'll have our sneakers of the week. Let's get to today's headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on The W with Walls and the Crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Chiefs fans looking for Trent McDuffie, but he's out of here.
Told y'all.
Kansas City Chiefs trade Trent McDuffie to the Rams for 4 draft picks. So the Rams and Chiefs have agreed to trade to a trade sending all-pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams for a package of draft picks that includes the number 29 selection in the 2026 NFL draft. So McDuffie, who is entering his final season in his rookie deal, is expected to sign a long-term extension with the Rams. Sources told, we can say friend of the show, Adam Schefter. And so in April, the Chiefs exercised a fifth-year option, which is no surprise. And McDuffie's contract making his 2026 salary of $13.6 million fully guaranteed. So along with the number 29 pick of the first round, the Chiefs will also receive a 2026 fifth and sixth round pick and a 2027 third round pick. You guys' thoughts on that?
I told y'all.
Told us what?
I told y'all that they should trade Trent McDuffie. And like I said, other than watching the industry over this week, I was going through the archives of the videos because you guys thought I was, I think the word that you said was, nah, they'll never trade Trent McDuffie. And then
I don't believe I said that.
I watched the videos. I went all the way back in the archives and watched all of the W.
You should have saved it because I don't remember.
I should. I really wanted to send it to Chris and have that moment to where, you didn't say that, and then he pops it up, and then you just look like.
I don't remember ever saying never.
You said that they wouldn't trade Trent McDuffie. He's an all-pro cornerback, et cetera, et cetera. You said something along the lines as if I didn't know football, as if it was just hyperbole of statements.
Let me ask real quick before you move on. Did you ever remember me saying never trade Trent McDuffie?
I mean, I remember having a conversation. I don't remember what everybody said.
I
remember.
I do a lot of shows, man. I never think that I've said never.
Right, that's why
Trent McDuffie. Do you remember that?
Whoa. They may not remember it.
Yeah, okay.
They don't recall or whatever, but I went all the way back. As I was watching the industry, I was watching the W show, looking at past shows, just to make sure.
So you're watching 2 shows at one time?
Oh, yeah. It's called multitasking.
Oh, okay.
All right. But no, I think I think the defense is going to see its woes next year.
Woes this year.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, back then, I didn't think they should. When Mike said it, I didn't think they should have traded Trent McDuffie because he's probably. Tell me if I'm stupid or not, but he was your second best player on defense.
I think the problem, though, with signing him to a long-term extension and giving him that money is, one, he is a great, he's an all-pro cornerback, but the thing is that he's going to ask for so much money, and he plays the inside. He was better at the inside. And when you pay somebody a top-notch money, you need to have that cornerback be on the outside. What I find strange is that with the defense having problems rushing the quarterback, that you give up someone that can actually contain the receivers on the inside.
And that's what I'm saying.
But when you give certain players contracts that they don't really deserve, you're in this situation. Now, the Chiefs have a history, Ward, Snead, all these other players that they don't pay, Marcus Peters. It's just what they do. But when you have a Hall of Fame one-of-one quarterback like Pat Mahomes, you need to figure this all out every year.
And Pat takes money off of his contract
every year
to help.
He takes off money, but the thing is, people think that him restructuring his contract and getting the money up front, they think that's good. But a couple of years down the road, which if they don't win any Super Bowls, it's going to be a bad investment because that money, that dead cat money, is going to be there. So what they have to do, what I've been saying, is when you have aging players, because the next player that needs to leave is Chris Jones, they need to trade him and get whatever type of assets they can, because that is the aging player that is getting paid a lot of money.
I'm with you there.
I've said this years ago. I was like, you have a declining player. Now, he's had his moments. He's been great, but you need to get younger. You need to take on that philosophy that other teams do. If you have a great quarterback, you need to put all the money into the defense while you have this quarterback on this contract, this rookie deal. And since he's restructuring, you need to keep having a revolving door with players and getting younger players and having your scout team, your draft team, and all that research out there, making sure that you're replenishing these players while you have this great quarterback. He's 30, so you may have 7 more great years.
The trade for trade with Trent McDuffie wasn't a surprise. It's been wash, repeat, rinse, watch, repeat. I mean, you looked at
especially in the defensive back side.
especially in the defensive back side. They're not gonna pay a defensive back, and what they did was they ended up paying George Karlaftis the Trent McDuffie money.
Wow.
And what happened was with that, George Karlaftis, he declined, and I was talking to a friend of the show, Darren Smith, and some other guys at the Big 12, and we are talking like, George Karlaftis has declined, and that money that he's gotten, you got to have somebody on the other side of Chris Jones that will push Chris Jones, i.e. a Bradley Chubb or somebody like that Chris Jones respects. I'm not saying that Chris Jones doesn't respect George Karlaftis or any Charles Minihue or any of those other guys that they had that aren't there anymore. However, you've got to have somebody that has just as much money being put towards him and just as much accolades and just as much dog as Chris Jones, like a Frank Clark or like a I mean, you can go all the way back to like Tom Ali when he was here. You got to have somebody on the other side.
And that's the tough thing that didn't help me see, because you and Darren were very high on Karlaftis. I think after his second or third season, I was saying they should have moved on from him. And mostly it's because of he's a guy that when Chris Jones plays well, he's able to play well. He wasn't always the play well guy.
Real quick, I would say this. He got 10 sacks while Chris Jones wasn't playing that well. So you don't move on from 10 sacks.
Well, and that was when Chris Jones was coming off of these great seasons. So he's seeing more of the attention. Mm-hmm. He's seeing the double teams. He's seeing that. So then Karlaftis being able to do that. But that's, again, when the defense is clicking. When the defense is not clicking, you still need that guy that's like a self-starter. Sure. So like you said, a Bradley Chubb, you named a couple of guys. But I didn't ever think Karlaftis was that for this team. Yeah. It helped that Chris Jones was commanding that attention, but for the past 2 seasons, Chris Jones hasn't commanded that attention.
Yeah.
And not having somebody that can wreak havoc, especially you win the game at the line of scrimmage. Like we could say all the old adages about offensive and defensive linemen's play. But I don't think Karlaftis had that spark there. Do you think getting rid of these guys on the defensive end, do you think the Chiefs should draft a middle linebacker and move Nick Chubb?
I think you're gonna do what you've been doing. I mean, they've had success when they got rid of. Let's go back to Tyreek Hill, because you bring up Tyreek Hill all the time. Mm-hmm. In 2021, you think about when they moved on from Tyreek. Look at all the players they got. They got a lot of young players, some right now guys that, and you think about
they got Trent McDuffie with that pick that they traded.
And you think about coach, defensive coach Steve Spagnuolo. He's the one to not play young guys. Like in his previous years, his Super Bowl run, his head coaching years, he's come out and said, "Hey, I don't play young guys. They got to earn their keep." Right? I go with my veterans, guys that have been there, and even that Super Bowl run when they had to play the Trent McDuffies, all those young guys that they had to play. I mean, they won on those guys. I mean, you think about what Brett Veach was able to do when he got 10. They drafted 10 guys. 9 of them played. 9 of them made a difference.
And you had an anchor in that defense of Tyrann Mathieu.
On one of those years.
Yeah.
Only on one.
And then you had his understudy come in right underneath that.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the pivotal position that's needed. You need a guy back there that can help command the defense. Nick Bolton's a good player, not taking anything from him.
It's not worth that money.
I think you need a middle linebacker that can cause a little bit more disruption, and then move him, to the wheel. to the
and
will
be,
linebacker.
and be better in the pass game.
Yeah, I've said the last couple of years that they could have moved from Chris Jones. That's one thing I will agree with Mike on. That they could have gotten some bargaining pieces for Chris. However, by the looks of things, he's going to be here. But now you go from 75 million or 50 some odd million over the cap to now you've got $50 million under the cap to work with due to the TV deal, due to moving on from Drew Tranquil, to moving on from some of these other guys that, were getting big money. So now you can pretty much do what you want because you have a first round 29th pick that I feel like you could use that as a bargaining piece to get somebody for a right now price for the 29th pick. I've been saying this as well. It's like they've struck gold the last 4 years of hitting on drafts. Brett Veach has struck gold on hitting on drafts. You can say what you want, but they've made the Super Bowl, the big dance with all these draft picks that they've got.
No, yeah.
Say what you want about the running back ain't doing it, the wide receivers ain't doing it, the defense ain't doing it. They've hit. And they've made it to the playoffs on these guys that ain't been doing it. No, so until they're not able to rinse and repeat with the guys that they've been doing it with, if they draft some guys now and they're not able to rinse and repeat with those guys like they've been doing it, then you can come back and say, oh, well, this is the structure is there, but it didn't work out like it's been doing.
And I think they can hit on defensive back. Like, I mean, we just went as far back as Marcus Peters. Like, they haven't really done bad at drafting, corners, in that right and in that
Noah
respect.
Williams, another guy that they got.
But I think these guys have to work out too, because so who's the cornerstone of the defense right now?
Right now, still Chris Jones. I mean, still Chris Jones. I mean, still
so a guy you would
3-time All-Pro.
You would have gotten rid of is the cornerstone of the defense.
Right. Yeah, he's still the cornerstone of the defense. I mean, you still got some guys that you could. I mean, you think about a young guy like Noah Williams. Kind of similar to Trent McDuffie, was thrown into the fire and has turned it on a little bit at the tail end of the season, similar to what Trent McDuffie. Because when Trent McDuffie first got here, he didn't play either. It took him and some of that was due to injury, and it took them a little bit to. I mean, they had
who was starting
Sneed.
Corners then? It was Sneed and who?
You had L'Jarius Sneed. You had they were coming off Travaris Ward. Watson wasn't a starter at that time. He was a young guy. You got Juan Thornhill at safety. Yeah, so you had a bunch of guys that were veterans out there, and then you had to throw in the Watsons. You had to throw in the Joshua Williams because remember a lot of those guys had gotten injured, and so it's like scratching your head on what we gonna do. And look up, you start these young guys and you make the Super Bowl and you go and win a Super Bowl, and it's like, okay, are getting rid of the wide receiver and then moving on from some guys has worked. So now they're going to do what works and see if they can strike gold a third time, or actually this will be a fourth time, and see if it works. But until then, you can't really go and say, oh well, what they got these old guys, they got these young guys that the linebacker ain't getting it. They made it to the Super Bowl with all these guys. There's these same dudes. So until they don't, and then you can say it ain't working.
Well, yeah, and I mean it didn't work this past year.
Yeah, but it's the guys. These guys are the ones that they needed to move on from.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so in essence, do you think they should keep both first round draft picks?
Yes.
No, I think you can move on from the 29th one if you because I've been going down my rabbit holes, and I told Darren this and Ryder Stars who Sam McDowell there? I don't remember anybody. Anyway, I told him like, hey, you can move on to 29th pick and go get somebody like Justin Jefferson. Parlay that you'd have to pay him, but you can go get somebody like that. I'm telling you.
Do you think the Minnesota Vikings are going to trade?
Okay. Yes. Look it up.
Okay. I mean, I can look up if Mars is a planet. It doesn't.
You can go get somebody that is because you got to get somebody in that receiving room.
So who are you drafting at 9?
So listen,
at 9.
I
mean, you can go. I would go defense.
defense.
I would go defense.
He's
in
saying what I
Miami.
said. You have a quarterback that's coming off of an ACL tear.
Minnesota
Or you could
Vikings,
use the 29th pick and go get Trent Williams.
Hold on. This is just insane. You think
Say
that
Trent Williams don't want out of your squad.
Listen, no, he's about to retire. Listen, no.
Retire?
Whoa. This dude is doing fantasy drafts.
Retire?
Listen, hold on. Stop. Because
Trent Williams about to retire. He was just on a pivot last week talking like how he's still a dog. What you mean retire?
I've just heard a spew of poop. Like a soup sandwich is what I've just heard. First of all, the topic going, the reason why they traded these players and letting these players go was what was the reason? Because of salary cap and how they was $50 million under. And you're going to tell me that they're going to take the 29th pick and trade.
Yes, I'm telling you that. You asked. Yes.
Listen, first of all, that makes no sense at all.
Why? What sense does it not make? If you could take the 29th pick and go get a veteran guy.
Let me finish. Right now, what Brett Veach is doing is what I told you guys what he should do is he's retooling and making flexible moves for the cap space. Now,
since when has the Chiefs ever cared about cap space?
And you know what? When you're trying to, listen here. This is what they need to do. I've been saying this for weeks. And this is the point of why I watch the videos, because this is what you guys do, or you do more than likely, because I've been knowing you for 30 plus years. This is what you do, Steve. I bring up a situation and you think that is hyperbole and you think it's crazy. And then when it happens, it's just like, oh yeah, this is what they should have done because this is what they do and all that or whatever. It's this fog of optimism or whatever, as if you're on the Chiefs payroll. And I'm sitting there like,
I'm not on the Chiefs payroll, but I'm in the locker room and I'm talking to all these guys and I understand what they're trying to do.
You have to take the fandom out of it and hold on.
Let me stop you right there, because and to all the viewers, I never put my fandom into anything when I'm talking Chiefs football, doing interviews or anything. So don't discredit me on that.
Let's do this.
Don't do that.
No, I'm saying, listen, you have a lot of optimism. You're saying they should take the 29th pick and trade it. First of all,
Jefferson.
And listen, what was the offer for Tyreek Hill? What did you guys? Because Trent, they got about 80% of what they got for the Tyreek Hill deal. So let's think about this: the 29th pick, and what else for Justin Jefferson?
Money. Because Justin Jefferson wants out of there.
No, but what are you giving the Vikings?
Tyreek Hill didn't really care.
What are you giving the Vikings?
Whatever they want.
So you're going to give them the 9th, the 29th?
It wouldn't be the 9th pick.
But they're not giving him up without just the 29th
It wouldn't be the 9th pick.
Listen.
I didn't say just the 20. You didn't let me finish.
No, you didn't let me. Pause. Listen.
Oh, wow.
They're not. Listen, you're not going to get a Justin Jefferson for the 29th and the first round.
I don't see why not.
Because first of all, the Vikings are not going to do it.
All right.
That's just what's not going to happen. And then you're not going to take the 29th pick, and you're not going to get a 38, 39-year-old left tackle, Trent Williams.
Hell no.
That is just
Mahomes.
Asinine to do.
Hey, he's still one of the best left tackles in the league, however you look at it.
Now we got one of the best left tackles.
However you look at it. I mean, why not?
Steve?
However you look at it. Why come he ain't?
It's not about him being good. It's about you're not going to pay somebody $50 million for 1 year.
Other teams have done it.
Okay.
Other teams have done it. Look at what we just talked about yesterday with the Houston Texans. What are they paying? $40 million for 1 year. $40 million for 1 year. You pay.
Who are they paying? Who?
Daniel Hunter.
They're paying Daniel Hunter $40 million guaranteed money for 1 year.
19 sacks.
But you just said teams don't do it.
He's not that old.
But you just said teams don't do it.
He's not that old. He's not equivalent to Trent Williams. Daniel Hunter. I'm saying Daniel Hunter is not equivalent to Trent Williams, age-wise, financial-wise, and his production on the field. Trent Williams is a great player. He's one of the top 5 left tackles in the game, whatever. But he's 38, 39, maybe almost 40 years old, and he's had a history of injuries. He has missed several games on soft tissue injuries. Daniel Hunter is not that. You're comparing apples to oranges.
Look, when you can get right now better.
Daniel Hunter is not 38 years old. Daniel Hunter he's played all 16 games damn near. You're sitting over here saying that teams don't do it. Teams do it with the metrics of age plus performance plus salary. They did the 1 year because they're not going to do a franchise tag because he's a defensive end. And I bet you next year, or if they're not productive in the year, they will trade him to a team that needs a defensive player. They left themselves flexibility into the cap space because they have a somewhat quarterback issue that they may have to walk away from with C.J. Stroud based on how he played. So they're giving this flexibility in Houston. You're saying other teams do it. Just because they do it doesn't make it right. I'm not going to spend.
Exactly. You're my point. My point.
But why do it if it's not right? If I run a red light and other
let me
teams
ask you this. Let me ask you this. What team are you a GM over? Except your fantasy.
The ones that win?
And your dynasty league. What team are you a GM over?
The same amount.
What NFL team are you a GM over?
The same amount that you are.
Answer my question.
The same amount that you are.
Exactly, 0.
But why would you want the Chiefs to make a win right now move when you have a quarterback that
misses 6 weeks?
I mean, he should, but
that ain't
knowing the Chiefs organization, if Patrick Mahomes wants to come back between weeks 1, 2, and 3, he's coming back.
Exactly.
And that's where I disagree, because again, you have 2 first-round draft picks right now. That's where you win right now. Like, winning right now should be, in their mind, in the draft. And I would like to win. If I'm on the Chiefs team, I would like to win with an offensive lineman and then maybe a linebacker or a defensive lineman, somebody that, two guys that can be cornerstones and not guys that are on their way out the door. They've lacked production over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Like, I don't think
you're still in it. You gotta remember you're still in this Super Bowl window until you're not. You're still in it. You're still in this Super Bowl window until you're not. So why
it's in the Super Bowl window?
You're denying why not?
Not right now. I don't know. Not this next season.
You're still in. Okay. Let me clarify this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I say Super Bowl window, and the word was thrown out a couple weeks ago about rebuild, and they could be in a restructure, rebuild, or however you want to call it. There's different levels of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like the rebuild of when you had the Legion of Boom, because they was in the Super Bowl window for a couple of years, right? Mm-hmm. They had their rebuild window or Super Bowl window, and they went to a straight rebuild because they had to pay too much money out.
And that's what I'm saying.
And the Chiefs aren't in that. Chiefs aren't in that. They didn't have a Patrick Mahomes like you. I mean, you've all said that he's the best quarterback in the league. They don't. You're always in a Super Bowl window while you've got him.
And that's what I'm saying. So use this year to get him healthy and build up your defensive and offensive line. And that's where I think it is. I'm not saying rebuild. I think, if anything, your offensive line and your entire defense needs to be rebuilt.
Yep. Running back, defensive edge rusher.
Here's the thing:
nickel corner,
and the receiver. And the thing is, I think you can find a nickel corner. I think you can find a running back. Like, I don't think those 2 positions are very hard. I think you can find a wide receiver. I think where they went bad this past season was too many receivers. Like,
and not a real alpha one.
I mean, they've done that. Like, it's been, like I said earlier, it's been a rinse and repeat thing, and it's worked. You had too many receivers when you had too many receivers when you were throwing. What was my guy that they was throwing to that had the fumbling issues or couldn't catch? Came from the Giants.
No, he didn't come from the
Bills.
Bill,
19.
Kadarius Toni. You had a guy. He was throwing a Kadarius Toni. And they had too many people in the room at that point. So it's kind of one of those things.
They had a really good defense
where the rinse and repeat comes in, where you're gonna want to strike gold again. Back to my original point earlier, it was like you want to strike gold again, and if you can get 7 to 9 guys, or 7 or 8 guys out of this draft, out of all your picks, at least 7 of those guys as starters, they're in a good spot.
I think what Steve is failing to realize is, one, it's not really striking gold. You want to go a little higher. It's kind of like winning the lottery. And one of the things that
is winning lottery striking gold?
Same thing.
Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Well, listen to this, and please let me finish. Check this out. What Steve is failing to realize is that with the type of production that they was getting out of these players, like, yes, they're getting maximum production in certain areas, but you forget that some of those plays and how they won those games was on the back of the great athleticism and the things that Pat Mahomes did. These players that they're drafting, some of them are great. Jalen Watson was a 7th-round draft pick in the same draft as Trent McDuffie. They have too many holes, less money, well, more money now, but not enough to fill all those needs that they have to fill. So going out there trying to get a Justin Jefferson when you could have taken your pick and a 2nd-round pick and probably traded up to get him, because he came right after Jalen Rigger from Philly to Minnesota. So now trying to do this and then have this high salary. So then you got Pat Mahomes coming off an injury, and then you have Justin Jefferson, but then you're probably not going to have enough for a running back. You're probably not going to have enough for a defensive edge rusher. You're missing. You had one of the worst defense. You had players on one team that had more sacks than the entire Chiefs organization this year.
Look, man, you went to the Super Bowl and won it with the 7th-round running back. So don't tell me it can't be done. You went to Super Bowl and won it with Isaiah Pacheco.
But he also said that was because of Patrick Mahomes.
But yeah, I think he's failing to realize that, like, okay, yes, we've done this before, but why would you keep on putting $200 tires on a Bugatti? You need to stop doing this.
It's worked.
Listen,
because it's worked.
No,
that's what my point.
And that's what he's
worked.
Saying. He's saying it's worked due to Patrick Mahomes.
You've made to how many Super Bowls have they won? In the last 7 years, it's worked. So you do it until it don't.
So this is the thing, though. This is one of those things to where if you keep having positive production with negative actions, you think that you won the game. It's kind of like if you playing poker and you think, oh, I got ace 5, I should just go all in, and you go all in, and you keep winning, and you think it's a working formula. It only works until it doesn't. And
exactly. You just said what I'm saying.
Okay,
what I'm saying is
that this, though. You said, how do you put $100 tires on a Bugatti? How do you tell an organization how to win when yours ain't won in forever?
You know what?
Exactly. Great point. Great point. We can move on.
Now they're making it personal.
On that note, we can move on. We've been down at T-Mobile Center all week for women's Big 12 basketball tournament, and they have, of course, some great basketball, but it's been overshadowed. And we talked about this yesterday. Players saying that the tournament's LED court is slick and slippery. So Big 12, of course, struck a deal with Germany-based ASB Glass Floor to use LED court for the 2026 men's and women's basketball tournament. So the LED glass court is being used for the tournaments, but it has mixed reviews amongst some of the players and amongst some of the fans. And I talked to a couple of staff members yesterday, and the idea that this court would be sufficient for the men's games is null and void. No. Q, your thoughts?
I'm biased because I like the floor. And I say that because I went to the reveal on Monday and was able to shoot around on it. But also I wasn't playing at full speed. Right. So that does make a difference. I think the tough thing for the players to get used to is that you spent your whole career on hardwood floor that doesn't give.
And now you're on glass. It's a different bounce. It's a different
No.
sound.
It's not the glass. Okay, get this out the way. The glass is the marketing term for it. Yeah. It's like a rubber court.
Yeah, and that's the worst.
And it is, and that's where I have to default, and that's where I have to default to y'all, because even when I played in school and all that, I only played on hardwood. I never played on a rubber court. So I've walked across one before.
Yeah.
But the difference with this court is that it's rubbery, so it gives just a little bit, and it's just the slightest, and so that's where I think the slipping is coming in, because when you get on a hardwood floor, but then
moisture,
but when you also get on a football field and you have cleats, you're able to stop. Like there's that resistance there that you're used to, and it's the same as in tennis. Like when women play on clay courts and grass courts, those are very different type of materials. So now you got to get used to the way that the ground gives a little bit, and I like it from the sense of
the art.
being, and not even just that, being there at the game. Well, yeah, part of that, because being there at the game, I think it adds an element to the game that basketball doesn't have, and like a lot of these courts now are just ugly.
Yeah.
Like just big ugly courts, and I like in timeouts, you're able to switch the floor, big timeout across it, and there's a
design on the inside of it.
Yeah, and there's a couple of graphics around there. Now, if they can figure out how to still have that same like resistance as hardwood in another material that works, I think it'll be fine. But I think it's personal preference.
And even interviewing Samaya Nichols, KU guard, and this is after their KU beat. And what was the first game they played? They won their first game of the tournament. And talking to her, and I was like, "Well, how'd you like the court?" And she's like, "Well, I had some ankle injuries early on in the season, and it's so slippery to whereas I didn't want to make any sudden moves because I didn't want to injure my ankle again."
Yeah.
And then some of the other young ladies were just like, "Man, it looks good, but we out there sliding and slipping." And I watched not every first step. I watched a lot of the girls take off moves on their first step when they go from there. When they get the pass and they're going to go and they're taking off, and I'm like, they slip every time.
Yeah,
every time. And even if you're playing defense, a lot of those girls couldn't stop because they're sliding. And it was brought to my attention yesterday talking to some folks at work, down at T-Mobile Center and work with the league, and they were just like, we are one of the people that I was talking to was like, well, a lot of the rumblings is and this was in the middle of the West Virginia game, if West Virginia loses, there are going to be some negative sayings out there because they haven't gotten used to the court. It's going to be because of the court.
Yeah. And
so they were just hoping, like, fingers crossed, that West Virginia was going to win the game. And so I just think that for the men, my thing is, and there's been some talks about them removing this court before the men plays, because it's going to take a guy like from BYU, AJ, to come in and say, hey, I'm not playing on this because of the court. I think you mentioned DP for KU. I think because he has already had some issues that it would kind of go, mute because of his not wanting to play early on in the season. But if somebody like Devonta, somebody like he comes out and says it, or some other guys, I think that they will listen. But I don't feel like that they're going to use this court.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you the example of what we're watching now. We have the MU game, and then we have the Duke Notre Dame game. I would rather play on that court rather than that court. Now, the colorization and how it looks, it's all great, right? But players, we're creatures of habit, and there's certain points where you come off a screen, or you're doing a backdoor cut, or you're hedging or so. You use those landmarks on the court as in your daily routine to kind of, like, hey, I'm gonna do a dribble, crossover, pull up, whatever. When you have the optics of something that takes away from that visualization, it messes you up because it's your routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you another example. When you're shooting free throws, players will tell you, I would rather shoot a free throw with people on the block rather than shooting a technical foul and have all that space, because you want that kind of circumference in there. Or I remember going into the gyms and the goals were in, but then the crowd was pushed out even further. So the depth perception or whatever, like, you kind of want to be closed in. Those things matter, especially when you're practicing on the court every day that have those type of attributes to the court. So putting glass and it feels like rubber after they've been playing on wood floors just for optics for the fans, you need to ask the players what they like to play on, because now you're risking their careers because, like you said, they kept slipping. That's a problem.
One of the photographers there, he used to play ball as well, and he said he'd rather the hardwood court, and because he was, like you said, how the ACC tournament, how their court has all that paint inside the three, and he was like, even the paint is a little more slick than just regular hardwood. And I mean, I get it in that sense. I like it just from the sense of being able to change it from game to game.
I just think if you look at just health and safety it's supposed to be about the health and safety of the players, and instead of sponsorship deals, like I think Big 12 had a sponsorship deal with Windex, and they're taking Windex. Every every dead ball, you got 7, 8 people out there with these push mops spraying Windex, and I'm like, and then they had to lower the temperature because, of course, it's 75 degrees outside. So all that humidity coming inside of the building, no matter if it doesn't seem like it, but the humidity, I mean, you get a glass building. All that humidity is going to be able to come. The doors are moving and opening and closing. All that humidity is rushing in there. And so they had to lower the temperature. I would say it was, 50 degrees inside? About 55, 60 degrees inside.
It was a little colder yesterday.
Yeah, inside of there. And I'm like,
but on the court, you could feel the difference because those LEDs still emit a little bit of heat. So you could feel, because I had to take my hoodie off while I was in the photographer's box, because you could kind of feel how hot it is.
This is what happens when you put people in charge with monetary minds but have Carlton Bank skills. They think about the money aspect of it, but they can't play the game, so they don't know about the intricate parts of the game that kind of matters to the players, and what we're actually here for to see is competitive basketball at its highest level. So
all right, we're gonna take a quick break. Coming up, we'll talk WNBA and this players union. They're not agreeing with the negotiation. I think a strike is impending. We'll come back here. This is the W Show.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live. You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
All right, back in on the W Show. Remember, use hashtag talk about it, and we'll talk about whatever topic you want. So back in, and we're talking, man, this is really interesting that the WNBPA exec committee says the CBA proposal not worth taking. So the WNBA Players Union, also the WNBPA, says it remains united in negotiations with the league over a new collective bargaining agreement. A recent player survey showed that 84% of the players do not want to accept the league's current proposal, which would give players 50% of the net revenue, roughly less than 50% of the gross revenue over an 8-year deal. So some of the tension also surfaced after Breonna Stewart and Kelsey Plum sent a private letter to the union leadership raising concerns about how negotiations were being handled and whether players were involved in enough of the process. So the core issue basically is players want much of a larger share in league revenue as WNBA grows. But, it's just the main question is it isn't how about pie, it is how the pie is being split.
Yeah, and I mean, for this issue, you have the NBA over all of this that has treated this league, I mean, really for the last 30 years like a tax write-off, instead of treating it like a profitable business. And now that it's becoming profitable and you have the success of unrivaled leagues and now FIBA trying to step in and start their own league, they're going to end up putting pressure on the WNBA to, pay these players. Like, unrivaled is half the time and the players make double the money that they make at the WNBA. And that's what makes the negotiations tough. Yeah. Is being able to make that money elsewhere. And they've definitely been I won't say definitely, but they've been able to do that in some rights, overseas playing ball. But still you want to be home and playing these games.
And their main concern as well, not only was the money part of it, but the private letter that was sent, and Breonna Stewart came out and had, I think she wrote something on social media just saying like, hey, that letter was never meant to be, shown, and never meant to be any of that.
Well, and that's
private.
And that's it. But it also shows like the players not being on one accord. And that's where you get leagues like, the NBA and the MLB, when it comes to striking, like you don't get paid.
Yeah.
And these girls haven't been getting paid fairly. So now they're writing letters basically saying like, hey, I don't want to be out here not making money. I would rather play while y'all figure this out.
Yeah, and the other issue is not only about the money part, but they're just raising concerns about how negotiations are going without any players present. They're not getting their voice being heard.
Well, that's on the WNBPA.
Yep.
That's that. And when you was talking about making a profit, only 7 of the 20-something teams are making a profit. The other ones are making at a loss. 2024, they took a $50 million loss, even with the high viewership. So we was having this discussion on the chat line. Like, yes, there's money coming in, but also with the money coming in, they also have high costs. Like, I think some of the stalemates that they're having is continuing insurance, travel, salaries,
and housing.
And so when you look at it, I see it from the players' aspect. Like, hey, I'm Breonna Stewart. I'm such and such, whatever. Why should I stay in subpar situations? Why should I, this and this, whatever? But then in a collective situation, when only 7 of the 23 teams are making a profit and they're sharing this pie, the other remaining teams have to say like, hey, I can't fork out this type of salary or so because I still have insurance, housing, travel, training, facility paying for the arena, staff. They have other expenses.
Is that on the players or is that on the league?
No, that's on the league.
That's on the league. But where it has to be an understanding is like, hey, we know we have high viewership. We know that it's a rapid growth between the WNBA, whatever. But what's projecting right now is with the rapid growth and people who are watching is not equaling to the amount of money that's coming into all 23 teams.
Yeah.
And when it's a total pie, when you have 7 out of 23 making money, but the other 23 is not.
out of those 7, I think it's like 5 or 6 of those that actually have arenas that can hold people, because out of those other 17, 18 teams that you have, a lot of those, they don't even have an arena big enough. They're playing in something in the size of a high school gym.
Right.
So if you're only packing out 5,000 people, but the demand is 10, 15, 20,000 fans.
But you have to equal cost. That's where it has to be equilibrium. One of the things that I told Steven, I thought one of the biggest mistakes that the WNBA made is that they didn't align themselves with the franchises in the NBA with the city. Like, instead of being the Chicago Sky, they should have just been the WNBA Chicago Bulls. One of the largest markets that we have is the New York Knicks. That is a name that is world known, right? And so instead of being the New York Liberty, I think if they would have cross segment with you don't want to. My point of that is that you don't want to try to make up your own brand when you can already go with the brand and make more money and go off of those coattails.
No. Yeah, because I think the players' names become bigger than the brand itself.
Listen,
Michael Jordan.
Whoa. See, you give that example of Michael Jordan, but Brian Scott, Daryl Armstrong, these are players. Listen, I know about the Orlando Magic,
but those are those are anchors of the team.
Understandable, but this is what I'm saying. Players come and go. The organization, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls, Los Angeles Lakers, now the Oklahoma City Thunder, whatever. These teams, Memphis Grizzlies, these teams will always be there. Listen, the name on the jersey, you can make it as big as you want, and then you can become the Michael Jordan, or you can get your money on the outside. But that team brand is there. When you think of the Knicks, you think of the Knicks. Now you know Patrick Ewing, John Starks, whatever, but those names will never be as big as the Knicks.
Yeah,
never.
And
women's. We're talking about the men's game, but
that's what I'm saying.
Caitlin Clark, the Indianapolis Fever
She's
will
one of
never
one.
be as big as Clayton Clark's name.
She is one of one.
She's not one of one.
She is one of one. And we're saying,
She's not one of one.
What I'm saying, no.
There will be another Caitlin Clark.
I'm not saying basketball wise. I'm saying with her marketability and the type of money that she's making on the outside. Yes, her name is going to be bigger than the Indiana Fever, but you still have 23 other teams out there, and you still have 500 players that you cannot name. You can't name me certain players. You can't name those anchor players like you did on the NBA for the Orlando Magic or the Seattle Supersonics like you can do for the WNBA. I can tell you players that play for the Seattle Supersonics, but I can't tell you anybody that plays for the Chicago Sky, because the name, if they were the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls of the WNBA.
You also don't watch the game.
I watch the games. But I'm saying, like, other people, just because me, and if I don't watch the games and I'm doing this, what do you think about the other millions of people who have to get that peak of interest?
They just want their money, no matter how the league figures it out. They just want to be paid.
Yeah, and
more.
They want to be paid more, and they also want their primetime games not be at 5:00 Eastern time when everybody else is at work in other parts of the country. So the WNBA has a lot to figure out, and if they want these women to be profitable, they will.
I just feel like their name is much bigger than the team that they play for. So they want to get more money, and I feel like they'll get it. No. They're not gonna want a lockout. It's just not. That's not something that league wants to have, because they're for. And you talked about being forecast in the future. They're forecasting to the way that the revenue is coming in right now. They're gonna make plenty of money in 5, 6, 7 years from now, and that's what the players are forecasting on. It's like, we need this money that we forecast now. Pay us. They don't want to get paid. They don't want to go from $250,000 a year to $1.2 million like right now. Right. They understand that it's going to take effect. It may not even be for them, but it'll be for going forward to some of the other players that are coming into the league.
The point of it is, though, like I said, it's a collective, right? 7 of the 23 teams are making money. So when you say that we want to be forecasting and we want to take that jump, that's okay for New York Liberty or LA Sparks or Indiana Fever or Chicago Sky, the teams that are actually making money, or even the Seattle Storm that's, making a profit. But when you have these other teams and you're trying to wrap and you're trying to grow, you don't want your other teams to fold.
Chicago Sky doesn't even have a practice facility. They practice in a high school gym. So yes, they could put some more money into the team to actually make some more money on the back end. And that's the whole argument that the women have. Like, a lot of these teams' ownerships, they're not treating it as a profitable product. And so now you have only 7 teams, making that money. And it's you got to put money in to make it. And I think they wanted women to make money straight off of the bat after the pandemic, and it ain't happening because they're not putting the energy into it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we'll have our Hater 11 segment and I'll talk about it. We'll be right back. This is the W Show.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live. To the W with Walls and the crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
We use hashtag talk about it, and we'll talk about whatever topic you want. We have a talk about it today from Batty Rhea 912 on X, and she wants us to talk about the average number of baths we take per week. So there's a company named C Lenzz. And I believe they showed it on Complex. They did a worldwide study of baths, and they looked at the average number of baths per week in each country. And the U.S. came in at last at 7.2 baths per week. Brazil, they take 14 baths a week.
Whoa!
So it's 7 baths. The U.S. the average is 7 baths a week.
Whoa! we came in last to countries in the Middle East.
I mean, we have a culture of people here that don't wash their legs. Like there was just literally a lady on TikTok and Instagram that went viral because she was washing her underwear in the hotel, in the coffee pot of the hotel.
That's nasty.
Yeah. So I mean, it's believable.
So Brazil takes 14 baths a week, Colombia 12, Thailand 11, Philippines 11, Indonesia 10, Mexico 8.5, Australia 8, Venezuela 8, Nigeria 7.5, Peru 7.5, and we're at 7.2 baths per week.
Mm-hmm.
That's one bath a day.
Are we talking about
bath or shower?
Okay. Because I know for me, I take a shower when I go to bed. I take a shower. I like to take a shower, to wake me up, a nice little cold one, freshen up. And sometimes, maybe a little TMI, after you sit on the think tank, toilet paper ain't efficient. Hop in the shower.
You get you a bidet. Ain't that what they call it, bidet? Spray on up there, my boy.
I'm not having nothing squirt up my butt, man. Pause, man. Only you get see.
Spray on up there.
My boy getting kind of sus.
Let's get to the 8 or 11 segment.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It.
Hate it.
If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
All right, up first, our sneakers of the week. We had the men's Air Jordan Low 4 Lake shows.
I kind of like those. They could have got rid of the yellow jump.
Oh, them was Lakers, man.
I mean, I get it.
Papa color?
Yeah.
All right, how about the Swarovski?
You know,
Hello Kitty. Chuck Taylors. Y'all think about those?
Those are decent.
Yeah. You wear them?
I wear them.
Okay.
Actually.
What about their Air Max 95 OG Neons?
I mean, it's
fire.
Steve loves those.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Air Max 95s. Those and the all blacks and the red ones.
He likes looking like a cross. What do we call those people that help you cross the street with the bright light?
Yeah, man. I like Papa color. Vote
He's
green.
A crossing guard.
Yeah, there we
go.
Green with Nike is like undefeated.
And that's what I was saying, because I like those strictly off the colorway. Air Max 95s don't get me all the time.
What about Air Max Griffey Max?
Classics.
I had these as cleats for baseball.
I just look at them, man. My bunion hurt just looking at those Griffies, boy. They look too narrow for me.
No, they not. They were comfortable shoes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Wendy's offers a job to Geno Smith after getting released by Las Vegas Raiders.
I love the troll.
Yeah,
I love the troll.
Wendy's wasting no time jumping into NFL free agency chaos after Geno Smith release, offering a veteran quarterback a job in the middle of an awkward career moment. So the brand is known, of course, for if you look at Wendy's on Twitter, they always comment on something. So Wendy said, "Hey, at Geno Smith, in case things don't work out in free agency, we're looking for a chief tasting officer." And then Geno posted to me, a clever response. I said, "Get your cheese up first," and he had a financial article that he posted that read, "Wendy sales plummet last month."
I just think when I seen that, I just thought of Louis Anderson. Like, first I started off in the back. Now I'm on the fries. And when I get up to the front, that's when the big
what Kanye say? This week is mopping floors. Next week is the fries.
They definitely need to get their money up, because they should have offered that to Nathan Peterman.
A's GM team says team is open to a reunion with NFL free agent Kyler Murray 8 years after drafting him in top 10. Hater love it.
I would say I was wrong about him.
He became a good player.
I thought Kyler Murray would be a lot better. Is it him or the organization?
I think it's the organization.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think in today's time, trying to get a fit with the organization and the philosophy with the player, I think trying to find that good fit, because we've seen what happened to Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, when they go to different teams and they kind of have that structure in there with this today's game. I think he had some bad narratives to where they had to put in a clause because he was, video games and not watching film and just not taking the game serious. And then he's been injured. Remember, he came in with the coach that he wanted with Kyle Kingsbury or whatever. And, he has some all-pro moments. I think he's a great quarterback. There's a plethora of quarterbacks that I would take him over. But I think structurally, he needs to go to a team.
Think you'll take Kyler Murray with Jalen Hurts?
You know I will. I will. He's just better.
I had to do that, Q.
I know you was gonna do that. Listen, Ollie. Hey, listen. Even the question to go with Brock Purdy. I mean, there's still a question. I think Brock Purdy, he is good, but is it the system? Is it the quarterback? Is it situational or whatever? And, it's always a hypothetical, but Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Miami, Raiders, Jets. Who else?
Giants.
They have they got the guy, the rookie.
I don't know about the
you can't give up too soon though.
Miami.
I said Miami. You can't give up too soon. You have the new coach coming in. He didn't have a horrible year. It wasn't like he was Nate Peterman or whatever. So you can't give up too soon. Like he had a decent season to where you can see how it goes. And plus you don't want to trade out a rookie contract for a $30 million contract.
I just say go to baseball.
All right, we appreciate everyone joining in on today's show. Remember, each and every week you can catch us on Saturday mornings. You can catch a rewind of our show on Mondays, 100.1 FM. Until next week, we are out of here.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundations, or affiliates.